I'm gonna let you know this from the start. Most of my games are RPGs because I am the RPG queen. That is all. Since we're talking about cozy games, I figured I'd bring a blanket to the party. Okay, well, only a few of them are cozy, but anyway, all of my Nintendo Switch games. First on the list, we have the Syberia series. The description is, join Kate Walker as she travels to remote locations and time periods in this timeless voyage to discover her true destiny. The game is set in a European town that is behind in technology. They live like it's the 1800s, but Kate has a cell phone. So there's that. And I won't spoil anything, but eventually you do leave this tiny village and venture into the beyond. So this series is one of my favorite games of all time. I love Syberia. Now this game is kind of old. The first one was released in 2002 and the graphics definitely show it, but it is still a game worth playing. Me and my family played the first and second Syberia when I was a kid, not in 2002. Because in 2002, I was actually 2. I replayed this series as an adult on my own in 2020. I bought the games on my Switch. I actually got the first and second Syberia as a bundle deal while they were on sale. So I got both of those for like $3. Syberia is a mystery type of puzzle game. It's a little bit creepy. I must warn you that it really is at times a difficult game. I have to Google the answers every time I play it, even with 4 people trying to solve the mystery. It is a true adventure game with lots of exploring. The gameplay consists of a lot of running back and forth though, I must warn you. The story requires you to solve the puzzle at one location and then it moves on to a new location where you solve the puzzles there. There are 3 games out in the series currently, and the 4th one is set to be released this year. It was supposed to be released in December of last year, but it wasn't. I don't think. Every game is a continuation of each other, so you have to play them in chronological order. I wouldn't advise that you play 3 without having played 1 and 2, if you know what I mean. The first and second games are more of a point and click type of deal. They play as if they were originally made for PC, which they most likely were. The third game though is more like a modern day RPG where you can control the character with the analog stick. She had a wee bit of a glow up. And the game is available on most platforms, even mobile. The second game on the list is Zelda Breath of the Wild. The description is, step into a world of discovery, exploration, and adventure in the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. You play as Link. He is a warrior man, and the main goal is to defeat divine beasts, which you don't have to do, but that's another story. And then you go fight Ganon in the final boss fight. This is another one of my favorites. I've been playing it since May of 2020 and I still haven't beat the game because I am taking my time, okay? I am not a hardcore gamer. I play here and there. It's a very well-made game. It's very fleshed out. It has lots of side quests. It's a open world where everything is interactive. You can climb on anything. There are plenty of enemies and mini bosses to fight. Lots of different items to find and discover in the game. You can change your clothes or you can change his armor. They're good for different things such as climbing and swimming. And I think this game is really pretty cute. My favorite village, Kakariko Village. And I also love Gerudo because I look like them, I guess. Overall, this is not that difficult of a game to play, you know, compared to Syberia. There are shrines where you have to figure out puzzles, and I have had to Google some of the answers before. But anyway, Link has what is called a Sheikah Slate, which enables him to have like these weird superpowers such as magnesis and cryonics. Some of them are necessary to get past certain parts in the game, and then some of them are just fun to play around with. In this series, currently we know of 3 games. So Zelda Breath of the Wild came out first, and then came Hyrule Warriors, which I played the demo and I'm not into it. It's not a true RPG. It's more of a fighting type of game. And this game is supposed to be the story before the calamity. So this is technically the prequel. So this one comes first, and then comes Breath of the Wild, and then comes another game that we're still waiting on, Breath of the Wild 2. And that is being made as we speak. The third game on my list is the one and only Crash Bandicoot. On my Switch, I have the trilogy. In this game, you play as Crash, who is a Bandicoot. Later on, you get the opportunity to play as his sister Coco. And very basically, this is a platformer, except the camera follows behind the character. In the first game, Crash starts off with the ability to spin and jump, and gains the ability to slide later on, which makes things very interesting. Crash was one of my favorites as a young warthog. We had it on the PlayStation 1, and when it came out remastered, I almost croaked of a heart attack because I freaking love that game, bro. I freaking love that game. There is a Crash 4 that recently came out, and I do not have it on my Switch because I don't want the freaking headache. Crash is very much a rage game. Most of the time I just go back and play the first island just for fun. I don't want this strain, okay? I don't want the strain. Number 4 on the list is Sky, Children of Light. The description is, hold hands and take flight in an unforgettable social adventure together with loved ones. Explore the 7 realms of this beautifully animated kingdom with other players where compassion, community, and wonder greet you at each turn. Create enriching memories as you solve mysteries, make friends, and help others along the way. Now, Sky is more of a true casual game. I believe it first came out on mobile platforms, which is where I discovered it. So that tells you how much of a casual game it really is. The gameplay consists of flying, collecting light to be able to do so, discovering, exploring, helping spirits, and learning gestures from them. For the most part, this is a super chill game. Nothing stressful, but there are some points in the game where you have to avoid enemies, like this giant centipede man in the sky. Overall, it's a pretty simple game. The 5th game on the list is Stardew Valley. This one is really popular. I'm sure you all have heard of it. The description is, you've inherited your grandfather's old farm plot in Stardew Valley. Armed with hand-me-down tools and a few coins, you set out to begin your new life. This is very much a farming game. In the game, you have the ability to go mining, farming, fishing, shopping, talking to people, dating, maybe even marrying, and you can give people gifts. Just a random fact. There are quests to complete and a little bit of a storyline, and then there are odd things that happen randomly. And I won't spoil it, you'll have to get the game and play it to see. This one is also available on most platforms, even mobile. This is also a very chill game, but there are a few low-level enemies that pop up in the mines, and they can pop up at your house and shoot you while you're sleeping in the night. If you choose the wilderness farm, which is what I did. Okay, they won't pop you in your house. They just pop up in your yard at night if you choose the spooky farm like I did. Numero 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Numero 6. Nope. Number 6 is Minecraft. I won't even give you a description because everybody knows what Minecraft is. But basically, Minecraft is a sandbox game. It has no story, no plot, no nothing. You can build, you can mine, you can fish, you can do whatever you want, really. The only reason I have it is because my siblings like to play online. And the cool thing about Minecraft is that they have cross-platform play available. So I can play online with my siblings on their PlayStation 4. The 7th mini game I have is mini golf. I only have this as a little something to play with people, and very basically it's literally just mini golf. Number 8 is the Overcooked series. Now I only have Overcooked 2. There's no reason for that. I just only bought Overcooked 2. The description is, Overcooked is a co-op cooking game for 1 to 4 players. Working as a team, you and your fellow chefs must prepare, cook, and serve up a variety of tasty orders before the timer runs out. Now this is very much a chaotic cooking game, and it's not much of a true cooking game, to be honest. Technically you are cooking, but it feels like more like a race against the time, if anything, and that seems to be the focus more than cooking, if that makes sense. The cooking mechanism is actually grabbing the ingredients, chopping it if it's needed, holding the, I think it's the X button. It's been a while since I've played. Holding the button down until the character is done cooking, mixing ingredients if it's needed, cooking it, which doesn't require any action on the player's part other than putting it in the pot. You do have to get it out on time before it burns though. There are fun levels where more actions are required, such as grabbing ingredients out of a fellow player's backpack, and in that case they would have to be still, so you have to be decent at communicating with each other. There are levels where you have to talk toss the ingredients to a player on another raft after you cut the ingredients so they can cook it, because you don't have the freaking stove on your raft. All you have is a chopping board. Stuff like that. So the focus is actually more on multitasking, but it is a super fun game to play with other people. You can play it alone by switching back and forth between characters, but I would not recommend it. Number 9, Unravel 2. Go. I developed a strange obsession with mimicking Hisoka, but we won't talk about it. The description is, in Unravel 2, create relationships with other yarnies in local co-op or as a single player, fostering relationship and support as you solve challenges together. Chase the spark of adventure through stunning landscapes to watch your surroundings blossom with new life. Okay, so in this game you play as a yarny boy, which is attached to another yarny boy. You go through the entire game like this. There's lots of swinging from each other to get to other platforms. You can never completely detach from one another, and there's also a limit on how far apart you can be from each other. Because of that, you can hop on another player's back if you want to hitch a ride and freeload. So this one is much like a platformer as well. There is a little bit of a story in there. You don't need to know the story to be able to play. It's very much a platformer, and the story, it just seems like it's just there for, you know, something interesting to look at. So I would recommend playing this one with another person, though it can be played alone by, once again, switching back and forth between the characters, which is a freaking headache. The catch is that it can't be played online, so you will have to snatch your younger sibling up by the neck and force them to play with you. This one is mostly casual, as I said. It's a platformer. There are a few puzzles, a few slight light puzzles sprinkled in, and a few low level enemies that you would have to avoid. Numero 10, Luigi's Mansion. This one is really popular as well, so I won't describe it, but continues to describe it. In the game, you play as Luigi and you explore a haunted hotel, beating up ghosty boys and trying to save Mario and the rest of the squad. There are also mini games included in the game that isn't part of the main story. I don't play this one often at all. I would say that it's aimed more at a younger audience, so it's kind of hard for me to get behind, but we won't talk about the $40 to $60 that I spent on it. And I only played 3 times. Number 11, the Trine series. The description. Trine is a fantasy action game where the player can create and use physics-based objects to beat hazardous puzzles and threatening enemies. Trine is not a new game. It was originally released in 2009. I just became aware of it in 2020. But it is a true platformer involving a knight, a wizard, and an archer. You can switch characters and use their special abilities to be able to navigate the game. Now, there are enemies throughout the game and obstacles that need to be avoided, but overall it's not a strenuous game by any means. Number 12 on the list is the Little Nightmares series. Now, I have only played the first one myself, but I have seen gameplay of the second one. Best believe I stayed watching my little gameplay, okay? I stayed watching that Corey Kenshin, okay? I don't know if he played it, but just know I've seen somebody play it. Just know I've seen somebody play it. The description is, immerse yourself in Little Nightmares, a dark, whimsical tale that will confront you with your childhood fears. Help 6 escape the Maw, a vast, mysterious vessel inhabited by corrupted souls looking for their next meal. That description sounded very ominous, but I swear the game is not. Okay, it might be that dastardly. This one is a horror, obviously. This one is a horror, okay? Just have to say that. I freaking love horror. So with the first Little Nightmares, there are 2 different stories that you can play within that one game. The first one you play as 6 the Yellow Conehead, and the second one you play as the kid. Now there's only so much I can tell you without spoiling it. But in both stories, you explore the environment, dodging enemies and solving puzzles. Now, there are moments where this turns into a stealth game, so if you aren't into stealth, I would seriously reconsider getting this one. But if you love suspense, I would definitely go for this one, because trust me, there's tons of suspense in this game. Number 13 is the slightly less popular Minecraft Dungeons. Minecraft Dungeons is a 2020 dungeon crawler. So basically, it's Minecraft in the form of a dungeon crawler. The entire game is just finding these zombies, creepers, skeletons, and other mobs that we all know and love. This is a multiplayer game. You can play locally or online, up to 4 people. In the game, you can equip artifacts that give you different things to use in battle. I used to use this llama dude. He literally just spits at the enemies and helps you fight them. He comes in handy. The only drawback though, this game is really simple. So really, the whole game is just fighting the monsters, which, I mean, what else can you expect from a dungeon crawler? But the map is really small and you have to pay more to expand it. I honestly think that there should have been more included for the price. The 14th game is one called Ashen. I don't know how popular this game is, but here's the description. Set in a sprawling open world, Ashen is a tight, third-person, skill-based action RPG about guiding your wanderer through a newly lit world. Fight alongside others, forge friendships, and defeat the creatures of shadow, determined to cast the world back into darkness. Now, this one I haven't gotten very far into. I've only played maybe 5 to 10 hours of, maybe 4 to 10 hours of. I have to say that initially playing this, maybe I haven't played it for long enough, but I don't feel like it was worth the $40 that I paid for it. It felt very much like a budget title. So if you're gonna get this one, do so while it's on sale, or forever hold your peace. It is an interesting-ish type of game though. The art style is kind of cute. As far as I've seen, the game is consisted of a bunch of small quests. When I used to play it online with my friend, it would have issues where we would complete a quest together, and on her account it would show that she's completed it, but on mine it wouldn't show up as completed. So the system was pretty glitchy, and trying to meet up online, it's one of those games where you have to be in the same place to meet up with each other. It's kind of confusing. I also remember thinking that it could have been more fleshed out for the price. But this one is less of a casual game and more of an action game. There are a lot of enemies that you need to conquer. The last suggestion that I have for you is the Hello Neighbor series. Now, I only played the original Hello Neighbor. I don't have the hide and seek or the other one that they released. I have seen gameplay of both of those, trust me, believe me. I stay watching my gameplay. The description. Hello Neighbor is a stealth horror game about sneaking into your neighbor's house and figuring out what he's hiding in the basement. Play against an advanced AI that learns from your actions. I wouldn't say that Hello Neighbor is a horror, but it's most definitely a stealth. If there was ever a stealth game, this is the stealth game. Maybe it could be a lighthearted horror because it is pretty frightening at times, but it's a bright and colorful game. I mean, it's okay for kids to play. So the gameplay consists of running around the neighbor's house and finding clues and keys, and the goal ultimately is to get into his basement and see what he's hiding. Now, there is a storyline, but since none of the words are in English and they don't directly explain it, it's kind of up for. This is another one where I can't say much without spoiling, but this one is very much not a casual game. It's very much suspenseful, but it is a lot of fun. I must admit that I'd much rather prefer watching somebody play than playing it myself, if that means anything to you.